Hey guys, lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the 2014 Disney film Big Hero 6. Beautiful hour and 48-minute long action, adventure, comedy, drama CGI film. Based on the Marvel comic book series Big Hero 6 with many Disney alterations. Baymax, for instance, in Disney's is a large, warm marshmallow made of vinyl, and he's a robot nurse. But like in the comic books, he's like a giant lizard thing that's very violent. C'est la vie. This Disney version is the only version that I actually know. I'm not familiar with the Marvel version, and the film is fantastic. I'm going to talk about why, because clearly it's been 4 years, so everyone's seen Big Hero 6 by now. So we're going to talk about why it's awesome, but I'm going to talk about one of the times I actually saw it. I saw it twice in theaters back in 2014. So I might get emotional, I might get choked up, so just bear with me. I'm not apologizing if any tears actually form. It's an experience of a movie, okay, for me. The movie looks gorgeous. Like, when they first did the opening shots of San Francisco, right? San Francisco and Tokyo combined. San Francisco, that's the city it takes place in. I didn't think it was computered. I thought it was literal aerial views of this city that they just dubbed as San Francisco. It's breathtaking how the technology was when they actually filmed this. Amazing. Hiro Hamada is the main 14-year-old boy. His older brother, Tadashi. Whew. We're talking spoilers because it's been out for 4 effing years, right? So when I'm jumping around plot, but when Tadashi dies in that horrible explosion at the school, you felt it, and the way that the camera panned, it's computer, but still, when they panned, you know, to just his hat with the char on it and the smoke coming out of the building, and a hero just getting blacked out because he hit his head on the concrete, and you feel it. And then there's no dialogue at the wake at their house, and then like time goes by, and like Aunt Cass tries to comfort Hero, and he's just super depressed. And when Baymax comes to be Baymax, Baymax's mission is Baymax's objective is to heal his patient Hero, who suffers from depression at the loss of his brother. And it's this amazing plot of finding yourself and knowing that those that we lose aren't actually lost and they're not actually gone. And it's really cool to see that. You know, when the trailer first came out, beginning of 2014, end of 2013, Greek Fire, the band Greek Fire's song On Top of the World was the main song to the trailer. And every time I saw the trailer and watched Baymax grab Hero as they fall out of the window and then bounce back, and it's this emotional rush that everyone wants a Baymax. Everyone wants someone to just be there and hold them and comfort them and tell them that everything is going to be okay. And not everyone gets that. And it can be frustrating, it can be scary, and, you know, you're allowed to question life. I've said that 1,000 times during the course of these reviews, that you don't need to know all the answers right now. You need to find you in your own time. And when you are ready to find you in your own time, people are going to love you for just the way you are. You know, the first movie I started these reviews with was Love, Simon, and Jennifer Garner's speech to Nick Robinson as Simon, saying you get to breathe now. You get to exhale. And we all want that feeling that people are going to love us for who we are, for who we realize we are. Everyone comes to terms with themselves on their own terms. And just because I'm an impatient person and I want something yesterday doesn't mean I can't actually have it tomorrow. But one of my fatal flaws is that I don't open up to many people, and I don't like many people. I don't trust many people. I've had horrible experiences to get me where I am and why I am the way I am. And, you know, when I see lightning in a bottle, it's just, it doesn't happen. You don't just catch lightning in a bottle randomly. Like, it's for a reason. And, you know, when we get to a point where we realize that, oh, this lightning is real, and it's not just a fantasy, and it's supposed to be, and it's supposed to happen, and you can breathe. You can breathe now, Simon. Ugh. This film is gorgeously done, cinematic masterpiece, beautiful Disney film about death, as all Disney films are, but this hits close to home on a lot of fronts. And now I'm going to discuss, I know I'm not really talking about most of the movie itself, but more what the movie means to me. And I think that's a great conversation to have. What do these movies mean to you? You know, I've been talking about current movies, I've been talking about films from the past, and I've been saying, you know, why these movies are important to me, but why are these movies important to you? What memories do you have with these films? Why do you focus on certain scenes more than other scenes? And you know, it might have done awful at the box office. It might have gotten an F rating from critics, but you might think it's an A+ movie. Why? Why do you? I want to know. Let's have these conversations. Let's join in on these discussions. Why this movie, this Big Hero 6 movie, was important to you? Because I know why it's important to me. I already touched base on part of stuff, but let's touch base on some more stuff. So the second time I saw this movie was with my friend Mike. Shout out to my friend Mike. I will keep his last name secretive. But Mike and I were close. We were really close. We were bros. We would talk about everything. We worked together at one of the same hospitals we worked at. And one day I was like, yo, like, you know, because I would drive him home from work sometimes when our schedules would match up. And Mike and I would talk about life. And we would talk. It's not like you're driving your coworker home and, like, you know, the one thing you have in common is work, and like, who do you hate at work, and who do you like at work, and what did you like about work, and what you didn't like about work that day. But like, Mike and I would talk. We would discuss all of the horrible things that have happened in our lives and the joyous moments that have happened in our lives. This movie was what, 4 years ago? I'm a vastly different person I was 4 years ago than I am now. You know, everyone changes. Everyone has different things. You know, you still maintain your sense of you, but there's different parts of you waiting to be explored, waiting to be experienced, waiting to come to terms with who you are and who you were always meant to be. Mike and I were miserable people that found very little glimpses of happiness. Again, 4 years ago. Vastly different time period. So, like, it got to a point where Mike and I actually couldn't trust certain coworkers because they were too happy. That there wasn't enough misery that they experienced. That their whole life was just this beautiful nirvana of bliss, and, like, no bad happened to them. And it was, like, weird to trust them because they would just always smile. And it was like, how has life been so nice to you? How? How have you been given so many great cards to play, and the two of us would just have to scrape at the barrel, right? 4 years ago. So one day we were driving home from work. It was like October 2014, because November 2014 is when the film actually came out. And I'm telling Mike a story, and he's giving me great feedback, as we tend to do with each other. And I was like, hey, random question, but like, we've never actually hung out. Do you want to hang out and go watch Big Hero 6, you know, when it comes out? And he's like, absolutely. So we go see it after I see it with my family. And, you know, the scene where Tadashi dies, you know, Mike gets very emotional and starts to tear up because he and I are reminiscing on losing certain friends at certain points, and, like, you know, the crap of life that we had both mutually gone through at that point. And I looked at him and he looked at me, and he's like, he did that. It was a exhale of no, and then like, he got it. He understood this film. He understood the importance of this movie the more it progressed. That you have to understand that you're not alone. That you might feel alone, but you're never actually alone. So Mike and I, after, you know, we wipe our tears away, these strong men crying in a Disney movie, right? Here's this Puerto Rican kid just crying watching Big Hero 6, and I'm trying to comfort him, and, like, he composes himself, but, like, you know, it's just, it was funny. So we get out of the theater, and, like, we're crashing in the lobby, and it's like 10:30 at night, not 10:30, like 11:30 something at night, and, like, I have a long drive ahead of me, because that's the other thing, Mike and I have a long distance away from each other on the island. So we're talking about things, and, like, we get to, how the end of the year would have been the first anniversary that Paul Walker died. Paul Walker died November 30th, 2013, and at this point it was like mid-November 2014. So Mike and I were big Fast and Furious fans. We would talk about the films all the time, how great Paul was and how much of a bro he was, and, like, philanthropy was just so top-notch on him, and, like, so there Mike and I are in the middle of this theater's lobby, 11:30 at night, tears running down our faces, talking about how amazing Paul Walker was and how much we miss him and how we never actually knew him, but we felt like we did, and all of these things, and it was just so painful to talk about this loss of someone we didn't actually know, but felt like we knew, and comparing the loss of Tadashi to Hiro, and knowing that you're not alone, and that I'll always be there for him, and he'll always be there for me, and stuff like that, and it was just super real. It was, you don't have these, like, kinds of moments, like, often. Like, you have these moments with certain people for reasons, right? I'm a strong proprietor for everything happens for a reason. There's no such thing as coincidence. Like, you're on a set path from A to B to C to D, and, like, how you get there's the adventure and the journey, but, like, you're supposed to get to certain points. And I feel like that viewing of Big Hero 6, November of 2014, was a certain point that Mike and I were supposed to get to. That our paths crossed, and we took pictures with dinosaur fossils and did all of these different things at the hospital we worked at, and, like, we broke down, and, like, we would pour our souls out to each other, and, like, had these moments of intensity, and that was the moment we were supposed to get to. We all have those moments. You all remember that one time you met that one friend, or you and that one person did that one thing that one time, and, like, but that's, like, that's my point. It's those are those certain points on your path of life you're supposed to get to. For reasons you'll figure out later, because everything happens for a reason, whether you know it now or later, but, like, it's just fascinating seeing that moment from 4 years ago and still feeling the sorrow that he and I felt in that lobby, and the realness that happened, and just the way that he and I connected. It was something. And then, you know, he and I would work together more, and, like, we would start to work together less, and he was one of the type of person who, like, you have to actually see in person to actually talk to, because he's an awful person on the phone. Just doesn't ever text you back, ever. So he comes over for a Walking Dead party that my family and I have. I don't remember what year it was. 2016, maybe? Let's say, like, April 2016, maybe? So 2 years after that Big Hero 6 moment. And I hadn't seen him in a while. So he really wanted to come over. He wanted to hang out. He wanted to come over. He wanted to tell me things. So we hang out, and he's like, listen, I'm moving to Arizona. And I'm like, wait, what? Came out of nowhere. And I'm like, all right, when? And he said next week. And I was like, no. Like, all these emotions are going through my mind. Like, Mike and I have had moments. Like, we bonded. We bronded. Bro bonded. We bronded so many times. And, like, I could talk to him about everything. And, like, I loved working with him. And, like, I loved that dynamic the two of us had, you know, working together, driving home together, me driving him home from work, and he would just tell me everything that's going on, and he would want my opinions on things, and it was nice being needed, you know, and then vice versa. So when he left, I obviously tried to keep in touch, and we lost contact with each other because, you know, it was a great distance, and he's an awful person on the phone. so I had to accept the fact that he and I had these beautiful moments, and I learned a lot from these beautiful moments. And if that's what our lives together were on that specific time period, on those specific paths, these beautiful moments that I will never forget, then I had to learn to accept that. And then randomly he texts me on my birthday last month. Happy birthday, I'm so sorry I jumped off the face of the earth for these last 2 years, but like I've always kept thinking about you, and I really hope that you're doing well and I'm doing well, and like we do need to catch up, and like I am so sorry that I just died for 2 years. And I was like, oh my God, he lives. Blah 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 blah. It's the thing we would do for from Big Hero 6. These memories come from this moment, this movie, right? And I know most of this review was about the stories that I have from these memories. But that's the cool thing about film, is that you can have the worst experience while watching a film, but have this great memory attached to it because you and your friend were making fun of how awful the movie was, or you or your friend were crying your eyes out because of how amazing it is. And you know, you get to these points in life where you just need to take a deep breath, just breathe. That everything's going to be okay. Because I'm right there with you. We're going to get through this together. All you have to do is breathe. Just breathe. And that's what I'm associating this film with, is just knowing how many tears Mike and I shared November 2014, crying our eyes out in the middle of that movie theater lobby because of how beautiful that movie was, because of how sad we were that Paul Walker died a year prior to that, and these moments live with us, these memories live with us, and that's the beauty about film, is that when you watch a piece of art, you don't actually need to actually understand the movie, but you need to remember how you felt while watching it. If you were alone, if you were with someone, it's just, you can breathe. You can breathe now, Simon. Ah, Greg Berlanti, you beautiful man. Director of Love, Simon. That was a whirlwind of emotion, wasn't it? Yeah. But that's the thing, we're supposed to feel. We're supposed to show all forms of emotion through the spectrum of the rainbow of emotion. This is healthy. We're supposed to feel sadness sometimes. We're not always supposed to be happy. We're not always supposed to be elated. You need that torment. You need that weight. You need that, you know, waiting. You need to know that, you know, just because you want something doesn't mean you're going to get it automatically. And that someday something can happen. Something will happen. But it's not up to you. It's just a matter of time. You gotta wait sometimes. Notice I'm talking to myself at this point. It's kind of relevant for all of you. I literally just had a conversation with a bro about this. About waiting, and you're on the top of the mountain, and you're so excited because you're like, you wanted to get to that point so far, and you worked your ass off to get there, and you got there, but like the wind is too much, and like you can't actually put the flag on the mountain to claim it as your own. You have to wait till the wind dies down. You're like, but I waited so long, and I climbed so hard, and I shed so much blood. But like, gotta wait. Gotta remember those moments. Just gotta breathe. Take in that low altitude oxygen, feel all loopy, the wind will die down, and then you'll be able to stake that mountain and claim it as your own. Woo! This was like a therapy session for all of us. Good. We needed this. We needed this breather. Keep us grounded. Keep us. This is reality. Waiting is part of it. Waiting is a part of the journey, and then you'll get to that nirvana, and you'll just see that serenity, and dramatically breathe. Big Hero 6, a solid 10 out of 10 bolts. Give it a watch if you haven't watched it. Thank you. Ba la la la.